Hey guys, Andy and Spoken Label. My friend here, the marvellous Mark Quinn. Mark is going to do. Well, no, we won't tell people, Mark, will we? We'll make them guess, right? How many poems you're going to do, mate.
Okay.
Take it away, my man, my friend.
All right. Thank you. Well, this first poem is one of my first ones I wrote for spoken word, and it's called A Cigarette and a Can of Coke. A cigarette and a can of Coke, a cigarette and an old man's joke. That's what you get from a disillusioned bloke. A cigarette and a can of Coke. Playing Kirby with a battered ball, watching the boxing at the Albert Hall. People small and people tall, waiting for the devil's call. Heaven waiting for old folk, living this life. It's no fucking joke when looking through the eyes of a disillusioned bloke. Prices rise and wages fall, waiting by the phone for that call. It doesn't come, not at all. Families live and then they die. You shed your tears because your life is just a lie. You go down the pub for a laugh and a joke and get into a fight with a big hairy bloke. You go home and get in the bath for a soak with your cigarette and your can of Coke. Pharmacy visits, doctor's appointments, lotions, potions, creams, and ointments. Acid indigestion will make you choke. A cigarette and a can of Coke. Thank you. Now, the next one is one of my favourites, and it's been a favourite. Quite a few people like it around in Manchester. It makes people laugh. Now, I've got to put a bit of a disclaimer out for this one. If you own a bubble coat, it's got nothing to do with you. Now, in Openshaw, we have a lot of these characters, and this one's called Scroat. What's the chance of meeting a scroat? Meeting a scroat in a bubble coat. Drug infected little turd, thinks he's hard, he's just a nerd. Taking a shit behind a bin. Waste of life, it's just a sin. He pops a pill, he has no job, but a load of shite comes out his gob. He walks the streets late at night, hoping to give some old lady a fright. Her son turns up. He's out of sight, the dirty little grubby shite. He couldn't even handle a fight. Says to his mates how great he's been. Lying little fucker. He was nowhere to be seen. I wish that lad would have grabbed his throat. A fucking scroat in a bubble coat. Thank you for that one. Now, this is one of my newest ones. I got up. I usually always get up early in the morning, but I got up one morning. It was about 3 in the morning, and I was sat downstairs in the living room, and I could hear people outside. And I thought, what are people doing out at this time of morning? So I thought to myself, they must be midnight shirkers. So this is where this poem come from. Who are the midnight shirkers out to play, lurking in shadows, fading into grey? On the hunt in the dead of night, preying on fear, avoiding the light. In the Mancunian mist they crawl, dodging streetlights, hugging the wall. They must be up to no good. They're not at home, though they should. Where's the mum? Where's the dad? Whatever they're doing, it's bound to be bad. You can't tell their age in the low-lit scene, and let's be honest, they're not very clean. The midnight shirkers in alleys lie, in silence they pass like whispers that sigh. On Canal Street, push the drunks, starting fights with the Mancunian punks. You'll hear them howl when the city's asleep, so pull up your quilt and dive in deep. Because come the dawn, you'll rise a worker, unless, of course, you're a bloody shirker. Now, this next poem, a bit serious. I wrote this one as a song, actually, and I've cut it down to being a poem. And it happened round our way a bit ago, and it's where somebody takes over some vulnerable person's house to maybe do to run drugs or anything like that, and it's called Cuckooed. Cuckooed overnight, murder in sight. They moved right in and stole my life. I lived in this house for years. Now it's full of shadows and fears. They've taken over, cold and cruel. I'm just a ghost in my own room, shedding tears that never end, trapped in a place I can't defend. Vulnerable and alone I felt. They saw a mark they knew too well. A little trust, a broken line. Now they run my house, they run my time. Needles pierce, control remains, exploited souls bound by chains. I watch the world from my window frame. New faces come, none know my name. No frost lies thick upon my roof, a silent sigh, a silent proof. The strangers smile, pretend they care, but no one sees the nightmare there. The Audi's back, I feel the dread, a den of sin, the streets run red. They kill my dog, my last good friend. How did my peace come to this end? I want to scream, I want to flee, but fear has swallowed all of me. The alleys crawl with gangs and noise. They twist our pain like broken toys. No sleep, no rest, just endless nights. I can't remember what feels right. No way out, no strength, no doubt. One more shot to block it out. Thank you. Now, this next one is called Mr. Paranoid. And I actually put two poems into one on this one. The first poem was about the drug LSD and then the effects of afterwards, how you might feel by getting paranoid. So I've just called it Mr. Paranoid, and it goes like this. So, Mr. Paranoid, how's it going? Tell me a lie. Please tell me a lie. Mr. Paranoid, how's it flowing? Tell me a lie that I can fly. How's your head? Is it cabbaged in? Do you feel like throwing it all in? Did COVID-19 doing you Swede? Are your mind thinking blood vessels starting to bleed? Are people starting to stare? Are people starting to glare? Mr. Paranoid, how's your head? Mr. Paranoid, get out of bed. It's time for you to fix your nut. It's time for you to get out of this rut. So, Mr. Paranoid, how's it going? Tell me a lie. Please tell me a lie. Mr. Paranoid, how's it flowing? Tell me a lie that I can fly. I feel so down when you don't lie. I feel so down that I could cry. So please, Mr. Paranoid, tell me a lie. I'm up on the roof so very high. Please, Mr. Paranoid, give me that lie. I will leave the roof and I will fly. So, Mr. Paranoid, make yourself a brew. And Mr. Paranoid, start your life anew. Tell me a lie. I'm high in the sky. Tell me a lie so I can fly. Thank you, Mr. Paranoid, for telling me that lie. Goodbye. Thank you. Thank you. Now, this is one of my newest, and this will be my last one. And years ago, when I was growing up, me dad used to call him Jimmy Vauxhall because he used to always do up Vauxhall cars, the Vauxhall Chevette and the Viva. And I remember as a child, he had this one car. It was a Vauxhall Viva, and he actually hand painted it red, and it had all brush strokes on it, and we sold it at the auctions. So I only thought about this the other day, and I come up with this poem, and it's called My Hand Painted Car. My painted Vauxhall Viva, my painted red car, my hand painted Vauxhall Viva. You'd have to see it to be a believer. I painted it red. It was the only colour we had. Well, it wasn't me, but my dad. People would stare, people would glare. It was hand painted, you see, but it had 6 months MOT. It was a good runner. It started first time. I know hand painting it was a crime. It had brush strokes from tyre to roof. I wish I had photographic proof. We sold it at the car auction for a ton. She didn't have a clue. She was a Catholic nun. She set off to do God's work with her Bible on the dash. Me and me dad were happy. We had 50 quid each in cash. The nunny's off to the orphanage to make the children believe her in my old hand painted red Vauxhall Beaver. Thank you. That was my last one, Andy.
Brilliant. That was really, really good variety of material there as well. It was.
Thank you.
I knew definitely the first couple there myself, and
Yeah.
I didn't know the Mr. Paranoid one or your last piece then. But I want to ask you about the Mr. Paranoid one because that was like it's an interesting technique that when you start merging poems together. Because I've done it myself before now, and it's not something that I would say is commonly done. So when did you know that was going to be the two poems would work well together?
Well, I first wrote Mr. Paranoid, and then I did one called LSD. And when I first started doing spoken word, I would do LSD first and then Mr. Paranoid afterwards. But they were even shorter than my normal ones. So you can
Oh
imagine I'd have
wow!
been up there for about 30 seconds.
Yeah, bang.
So I thought to myself, what I'll do is I'll merge them. Because I was trying to do some poems towards music to see,
Hmm.
to sort of, I've done that. That's on TikTok and stuff. I tried to put them onto music. Um, Still some I might do in time, I might do a few more, but that's why I made it longer. I thought to myself, I'll do it with some backing music. I had more choruses in, but I've took them out because I just wanted to concentrate them onto the spoken word. So that's how I ended up putting them together because I thought they fit just
They
right.
do fit really well there, to be honest with you, straight away. That is obviously I wouldn't know the original piece like there, but you can see it flowed really well. Really,
Yeah,
really good piece
thank you.
that. What was interesting really was when you did your first couple of pieces, like I said there's some of your more famous pieces you could argue, and like the more recent to the end of it, the stylistic changes show how you think you work as a person always develops. It does.
Yeah,
That's why, because the rhythm is very different on the pieces. It is very good
yeah,
pieces, all six of them. But do you find when you look back at your earlier pieces now that people want you to do more, you think, oh, the new ones are quite different actually now, but I still like doing the old ones.
yeah. Well, I look. I've always got them here written down. So if it's an old one, I actually try and add stuff to it or rewrite it a bit to make it flow a bit better. Because at first, when I was doing them, they wasn't actually being written for spoken word. I wasn't
Hmm.
doing it. I was doing it just for mainly in my books. So then all of a sudden I think to myself, well, I want to make it flow a little bit better. So I'll add stuff in, take stuff out, try and get me wording, a bit better. I've still got to work on that, as we always do. We always have to keep working to improve. So yeah, so I keep trying and trying new ways of making them flow a bit better.
Yeah, no, I understand you completely. No, good luck, man. Good luck, but definitely.
Thank you.
So it's impressive the fact that you've got two books on the way for the end of the year as well. And it's like I'm like, so I've got well two books on the way myself at the moment. And it's like you're trying to train your brain to move from one genre to the other all the time,
Yeah,
backwards and
yeah,
forwards, and it's not easy. And that's why you've got a lot of respect for doing that, to be honest. Yeah.
yeah. Well, my mind's always um, jumping from one thing to the other, and I've got to try and keep myself concentrated on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I could easily say, "Oh, I'm not going to do that anymore," and then stop. But because the Edwin one's done and it's just being edited now, I can concentrate on the pints to poems, and that's what I'm doing now. Because I've got all the poems for that, I'm just putting it all together, and then I like to try and think of some new poems to read at the spoken word, and I'm trying to do them, trying to keep them gritty, but I'm taking a lot more swearing out,
Yeah. No, I get you.
because I'm because I I do want them to have some of it in because I think it's the way that when where we live and it's life. People
Yeah.
are like that. But
True.
I'm not going to put it on in every sort of line.
Yeah, you don't need to. No, I
Leave
get you
some
completely that.
space.
I think I'm weird at this because I don't think I would ever sworn three times in poems and I've been writing for 40 odd years. But stories I can be incredibly foul-mouthed with. I think
Yeah,
you've probably heard it before now. But
yeah,
what works with one thing doesn't always work with another thing. So I think it's important to be conscious of it straight away. And I understand you,
yeah.
mate. Good luck, mate, with it straight away. So Keep
Thank
me
you.
informed, mate. If we can help you again,
I will do.
love to have you on again, mate. No problem with that one. So,
Excellent.
right, people. Yeah, now both me and Mark are probably a little bit old for the TikTok brigades. So, but we don't care, Mark, do we? 'Cause that's where we're going
We
next
don't
up.
know.
So, it's been a pleasure, mate. I've really been looking forward to this since we agreed this one the other month, mate. So, thank you again. Okay,
Thank you.
folks. Now, I don't think Mark knows this, but I'm a big fan of AEW wrestling. So after this finishes off today, I'm going to watch All In, their big pay-per-view from last night. So that's
Oh,
six
excellent.
hours long. So Amanda's not going to say much of me today, which I think is probably a blessing, actually. So, listen, mate, thank you again, mate. Anyway, so I'm going to quote one of their bad guys now, Don Callis, and he's got a great saying: stay safe and stay over. And we will see you all next time.